Throughout television and pop culture history, portrayals of East Asian women has been heavily put in one-dimensional representations. In this video, I am going to analyze how mise-en-scene aspects, particularly costume, hair, and makeup, help construct the stereotypes of East Asian women on television. The two stereotypes I will focus on today are the deferential Lotus Blossom and the aggressive Dragon Lady. First, the Lotus Blossom. The Lotus Blossom is passive, overly feminine, and sexually compliant. This stereotype emerged after the Opium Wars opened trade channels to East Asia, particularly in China and Japan, when Western colonialists engaged in Orientalism by mythologizing the East based on fantasies of the other. In my first example, Lee Sin from the series How the West Was Won is put in the Asian immigrant's clothes. The color of the outfit is muted, grayish-blue, and her makeup is minimal. The set of mise-en-scene makes her appear inferior and powerless, combined with the fact that she is raped by a white male sailor, emphasizing her submission and having no agency over her sexuality. Let's go back in time and take a look at an old TV series, The Courtship of Eddie's Father. Mrs. Livingston, played by Miyoshi Ameki, featured a subservient Japanese housekeeper. Miyoshi's Asian maid costume, cropped hair and heart-shaped face are said to radiate charm and innocence so effortlessly. In the American war comedy drama series, MASH, Soon Lee, wife of the American G.I. Klinger, is put in the Korean traditional costume, the hanbok. The traditional costume's simplicity and unembellished accentuate the naivete of an Asian female character that is added to reassure the masculinity of her male savior. These first two examples can be categorized as the war bride Lotus Blossom. By creating the traditional Asian look, the mise-en-scene here helps perpetuate the stereotype of an ideal companion for white Americans who prefer traditional women untainted by the notion of gender equality. These characters clearly present no ideological threat to the dominant order since they are passive and either desire white men's protection and attention. In this episode of the classic Sex and the City, the caste system, the female servant Sum,
she wasn't so dim, that Sum,
is played by Gina Oh, a Korean-American actress, and the origin of her character in the series is vague. Putting the character in the cheongsam, the traditional Chinese costume without acknowledging her origin, is a false representation that attempts to homogenize different nationalities on screen. Western television made meager efforts to diversify the representation of people of color. Still, when they do, they change the clothes of Asian women from the generic traditional to seductive, hypersexualized costume. In this episode from Family Guy, Quagmire keeps several Thai women in his basement as sex slaves. They all wear revealing clothes, have dark hair and a mono-eyelid appearance. The oversimplification of 2D animation made it easier for filmmakers to homogenize and generalize Asian women. In this clip from 30 Rock, the Lotus Blossom is objectified in the sense that she is an anime girl printed on a body pillow.
It is here like any other object. Objects are made by men and used for many purposes.
Who wears a sexy two-piece costume, with a flirtatious facial expression. The way she is dressed represents the white man's fantasy of a sexy compliant Asian partner, and this kind of image is perpetuated by the young females in Japanese anime that is popular among Western audiences. The women presented are scantily dressed in outfits that conceal little more than lingerie would. These China dolls are costumed to highlight their sexual features and suggest that they would be easily undressed and accessible. The opposite representation of East Asian women in popular media is that of the aggressive, sensual Dragon Lady, who is posed first as a challenge to Western power, but quickly brought to submission to ensure white dominance. She's the feminine embodiment of yellow peril, or the idea of Asia as sinister, primitive, and other. The first example is Josie Packard from the mystery horror TV series Twin Peaks. In this serial drama, her two most striking costumes are the black and white suit and a set of black, transparent lingerie. While the harsh contrast of color in her outfit makes Josie an influential, fierce Dragon Lady, the lingerie highlights her sexual appeal and mysteriousness. Rush Hour creates the Dragon Lady stereotype through the antagonist Hu Lee. The most notable aspect of the mise-en-scene put on her is chopsticks in the hair, which is the false representation of Asian culture that is often wrongly associated with Asian female martial arts. Sue from the episode All or Nothing in the series Wise Guy is dressed in a white t-shirt, which suggests her formality as a female Chinese-American activist, but also turns her into a sexually alluring woman. A scholar of Asian Americans and media, Daryl Hamamoto writes, Sue might indeed be politically committed, but deep down all yellow women truly desire is to have sexual relations with white men. Lucy Liu is a modern-day actress who is constantly typecasted as a Dragon Lady, as she has played numerous domineering Dragon Lady roles, and significantly the manipulative lawyer on Ally McBeal. Here, she dresses in a black, furry coat, suggesting that she is cold, calculating, and fierce. Tracy Owen Patton argues that the role of Ling Wu in Ally McBeal is particularly damaging as it is the only long-running image of Asian Americans for years and the stereotyping of Wu is so extreme. The aggressive Asian woman posed a challenge to white culture, whose defiance is quickly brought to heel. The threat of the East Asian Dragon Lady is emphasized to alarm and challenge the public but is quickly quenched by white power to reassure and reinforce the dominance of Western culture. The Dragon Lady is the opposite representation of the Lotus Blossom. While the doll is selfless and serving, the dragon is selfish and brutal. The way these stereotypical women are dressed on screen helps perpetuate these one-dimensional representations. Films that are only representations do not prevent them from having real effects in the world. Because of the limited representation of Asian women on film, Westerners' perceptions of Asian women in real life are also constrained. The 2021 Atlanta shootings highlight how racism and misogyny are inextricably linked in our society's problematic stereotyping of Asian women. Therefore, the need for diverse representation, starting with the media aesthetics, is essential to contribute to an equal society.